Alright, welcome back. Once again, Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. And when we left off, where were we? We had, we're looking for bullying. That's what it was. We're looking for the journalist. Did he say something about a I can't remember where we were. Yeah. We were doing something with the journalist, I remember that. I thought he said something about a disguise or something before we broke off, but perhaps not. London Hospital, Wharfdale Road, Hanbury Street, Central News Agency on Fleet Street. That must be where we're going.
I must go to the Central News Agency. I'm at the press agency where bullying works.
Great. Very natural exposition. Interesting. Why have these near the door? I'm reading too much into the set decoration here. That's not bullying, or at least that's not his hat. Director. That's it? Just the one? Okay.
I would imagine these are compartments to organize the paper's incoming dispatches.
You may imagine if you wish.
A mirror.
A mirror, eh? That's it? Okay. Who are you?
What do you want?
It would be very informative to search Bulling's desk before meeting him, but first I must get rid of this bothersome person, perhaps by offering him a scoop.
What do you want?
It would be very informative to...
Oh, okay. Scoop, huh? Alright. I don't have any... Oh, I do have items. Maybe this.
Good evening. I'm looking for Tom Bulling, the journalist.
He isn't here. He must be sleeping off somewhere. He gave me a tip. He wanted to save a scoop for me. He always gets a good dirt, and yet when he comes in here, it's just to warm his behind. Look, he pulled his desk over the stove.
Okay.
Listen, Scoop, I'm bringing it over. Only if Bulling isn't here, I'm leaving.
Wait, what's this scoop?
Bulling promised me a reward for info. There's a charlatan who does spiritualist seances that are a little bit special. He steals corpses from the morgue, puts makeup on them, dresses them up, and then uses them as puppets.
I'll give you your dues. We'll pay you if this info is true.
I'll write down the address of the hideout on the crook's leaflet, but the police will be in on this one, so you better get there in time.
Understood. I'll go alone. Too bad for Bulling.
Hey, you wouldn't have a little something in advance?
Look on Bulling's desk. I know that he always leaves a few coins around for his snitches. Cheers.
Watson won't be pleased that I'm divulging the case, but I don't see any other way.
Right, okay. I feel like there was another way. Dialogue is so unnatural. Permit me to defend myself against the slanderous accusations brought against me. You were not lied to regarding the facts. Mr. Bulling spends all of his time in the most odious of pubs, but I am only doing my work as a journalist. It is during these outings that I can find the best information because I am thus in contact with the common man. Let me prove to you, dear boss, that I can bring this agency what it deserves, the most extraordinary and most stimulating information for... That's it.
Even handwriting, yet fairly recognizable.
Okay, perhaps we will use that for handwriting comparison.
This is Bulling's desk, the one closest to the stove.
Yes,
Some coins.
That's why I'm
I
here.
will take them. That will avoid suspicion if the journalist returns. These are Bulling's notes. They are of little interest at the moment, but one never knows.
Yeah, just steal everything.
Charred match. This may come in handy.
Okay. That it? Guess that's it. What else?
The fire has almost gone out, but the stove is still burning hot. Bulling recently used the stove.
Anything else? We have a thing over here now. Mr. Moore, I have noticed that one of your employees, Thomas Bowling, arrived at the meeting in a state of inebriation. I must ask you to take care of your team's discipline. I know that you indulge this journalist given the explosive information that he manages to flesh out, but his behavior is unacceptable. It should not repeat itself, or I will hold you personally responsible, the assistant director.
Bulling's boss, Mr. Moore, seems to be protecting the journalist.
Okay. Is there no more? We have the phone.
A telephone, a device that enables you to talk with anyone in London, provided the receiver has a telephone too.
Definitely relevant. Definitely relevant. Let's... Okay. I owe you Bowling's notes, cloth, money, pocket knife. Okay. Is there anything? I guess that's it.
I need more information.
Okay. Then, I mean, this is green now, so it doesn't seem like I missed anything, but...
A charred match.
I can't interact with anything else. Alright. Okay, what am I missing? Oh, there's a Queen Victoria.
Queen Victoria, to keep the journalists on their toes, I suppose. I would imagine these are compartments to organize the paper's incoming dispatches.
Okay. What else need be done?
I need more information.
I agree, but I don't know where to find it here. I'm at the point where I'm just randomly combining things.
A mirror.
What am I supposed to do with the rag?
A mirror.
Clean the windows?
Queen Victoria, to keep the journalists on their toes, I suppose. A telephone, a device that enables you to talk with anyone in London, provided the receiver has a telephone too.
Is the stove hot, so I need the rag in order to not burn myself to open it?
A torn piece of blotting paper. Curious. Curious. It looks like someone wanted to destroy this piece of blotting paper that had red ink on it. I can make out a few more letters, but backwards. I need something to help me.
If they're backwards, then we can use the mirror.
A mirror.
Right, I need to.
By putting this piece of blotting paper in front of the mirror, I can read what is written.
Information on the Whitechapel killer. Call by telephone WA.
Apparently, our journalist gets his information by telephone too. Sadly, the name is almost erased. If I telephone one of Bulling's contacts pretending to be his assistant, I might learn something of interest.
What? What? What do the coins have to do with anything here? $17.19, $16.94, $17.18, and 18. What do the coins have to do with anything? Oh, there's an imprint. Okay, well that's this coin. So 1875. So, is that what this is supposed to be? $1875.
This page has some light ink stains. It contains a list of telephone numbers.
Okay. Okay.
Walesby 1875, an ingenious way to save his contact.
Ingenious is one way
Central,
to put it, sure.
Walesby 1875, if you will. Thank you, I will wait.
Walesby, I am listening.
Hello, my dear man. I'm calling on behalf of Tom Bulling.
Bulling? So you know where this hypocrite, this liar, this...
Not at all. He is currently unobtainable. In the meantime, he has left me with a note asking me to pursue his work, and he told me that you were aware.
That's just great. I dropped everything off at his agency, but he didn't even bother to do the same for me. Tell me he at least gave you the information that I was asking in return.
I am ready, sir. I'm listening.
Do the police have a suspect for the bizarre theft of cigarettes and carrots that took place at the commercial street market?
What? What even is this? When he comes home from work, he is never tired and has already read the newspaper. What am I supposed to do here? Scotland Yard is searching for a rabbit. Is there a document? I don't see anything related to this. Cigarettes and carrots? Scotland Yard is searching for a rabbit that coughs.
I think, according to Bulling, that Inspector Lestrade's team is looking for a rabbit with a bad cough.
Ah, damn.
Oh my God.
Bulling. One day he'll be in some serious trouble for mocking the police. And now, can you tell me, with regards to the parliamentary scandal, what did the head of the Whig Party respond to the Tories who were treating him as a great incompetent?
What the fuck? The head of the Tories, he... will surely be your best representative? This is like... Okay, that's not it. What did the head of the Whig Party respond to the Tories? No, okay. It doesn't make sense. Vote for me. Oh. Okay, yeah, it is kind of like a riddle. I mean, the last one was a riddle with the who stole carrots and cigarettes, a rabbit with a cough. I mean, it's not a great riddle, but that's how I got that one. This is also a riddle. It's just a play on words. If they're treating him like a great incompetent, well then vote for me because I'll be the leader of the incompetents.
According to Bulling, the head of the Whigs said, "Vote for me, I will be your best representative."
Good. That'll make for a good paper. There is one last question. According to a government social study, civil servants make the best husbands. Why?
A civil servant makes the best husband because when he comes home from work, makes a lot of noise? No. It also needs to be a valid sentence, I assume, so we need to have a subject in there. He is never tired. Oh, and has already read the newspaper implying that civil servants are lazy and do nothing all day. Gotcha.
I believe I can confirm that it is because civil servants aren't
I hate those puzzles. I hated that.
When they come home from work.
Very true. Good. It seems like Bulling has finally done his work.
As everything is all in order, can you now tell me where the information is that you sent to the agency?
Yes. There is a large brown envelope near the dispatch cabinet. It's in there that we exchange our tips with Bulling.
1,000 thanks. Goodbye, sir.
My salutations to Bulling.
Envelope. This one.
There are several documents in this file. Let's see.
Spring Hill Jack, Terror of London, fantastical character, first appearance, 1837, associated with several suspicious muggings and robberies taking place in London and other parts of England. Diabolical appearance, bat's wings, horns, blue flames coming out of blah blah blah. Alright.
I wonder why Bulling is studying this tale about Spring Hill Jack so meticulously.
The Terror of London, Spring Hill Jack, the Phantom Killer. Okay, so testing out names for the killer.
What does that mean?
Mr. Charles Moore, I thank you for this testimony of the Whitechapel Killer that you followed. Not easy authentication. Do not hand over to the press without my invitation. Thank you for your collaboration and discretion. We won't forget this, Inspector Aberlin.
Well, a piece of information about the murders transmitted exclusively to the police without informing the press. That has piqued my curiosity. Perhaps I should go to the police station to get more information.
Tom, about the letter. Given the thanks from Inspector Aberline, I think that they took the bait, even if they were defending themselves. Think of the second. We must be ready if he kills again. Either way, we must keep up the correspondence. Be responsive. This idea will save us. We will get the information firsthand and we will make history, but stay quiet and keep a low profile. I am not really in the know, and you will be the first one who gets it if there's trouble. CM. And Mr. Moore's first name is Charles.
What does that mean? I have inspected everything, but there's no sign of Bulling. He must have dashed off to his HQ, the Wasp's Nest. However, before I go to see him, I should find out about this mysterious information. It could help me get something out of the journalist. To the police station, then.
I'd rather not.
Let's go to the police station.
Yeah. Let's go. Come on. Let me move.
Come. Back again, are we? Come this way, good man. The inspector has a few questions to ask you. Here is the man, Inspector.
Congratulations, Humphreys. So, my lad, one would say that you owe us a bit of an explanation for having left something with us. What is your full name and profession?
Sherlock Holmes, consulting detective.
Well, how about that?
We met like the other day.
Mr. Holmes,
Is
can
my
you explain
disguise
this
that-
get-up, your presence in the neighbourhood despite
Okay.
my
My
instructions,
disguise is really
as well
that
as
good.
this most opportune restitution of
I
jewels?
put on a different hat.
Firstly, I should tell you that not being under your command, I never understood what you said as an order, but rather as advice. I thought I would be wise to follow them to a certain extent. I intended to explain the stolen goods sooner or later. My presence here will allow me to fill you in on a few conclusions that...
If it is in regard to the Whitechapel murders, it won't help us much. We have no doubt that we will be revealing the identity of the murderer to the people in the area in a day or two.
I'm impressed, Inspector, and I offer you my sincerest congratulations. Nonetheless, you should investigate a certain doctor.
Listen, Holmes, let us do our work. You've rid us of a great pain in the rear end by finding those jewels for us. It's weeks of work that you've saved us. But I think you're a little underqualified for a case like that of Jack the Ripper. Until it's over, I demand that you do not set foot in the area. Is that clear?
I take note of your advice, Inspector. You mentioned Jack the Ripper. Pardon me, but you know the name of the murderer?
Oh, it's from a letter that the Central News Agency sent our way. It was written by the killer. And even if it can't be proven,
there
it
were
must be
letters that were
recognised that the
supposed to have
signature
come
is
from Jack the
striking.
Ripper, but only really
This information
one
is
of them
confidential, and I would
is
ask you
believed
to keep it
actually
to
have been
yourself,
written by him.
Holmes.
Can I have
By
a
this
little
point
look?
in
Out of
Victorian
mere
London,
curiosity, Inspector.
the
Then I shall disappear.
news media was running rampant with the
case,
story, and
I don't see any
there
objection.
were plenty of
Thank
people
you
who
so
wanted to
much.
hitch their wagon to the case and be associated with the famous Jack the Ripper at the time. So the one that they believed to be authentic was addressed from hell, hence the Johnny Depp movie from the early 2000s. All right, I keep on hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet. Yeah, actually, this is the letter. I have laughed when they look so clever and talk about being on a right track. That joke about Leather Apron gave me real fits. I'm down on whores, and I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled. Grand work. The last job was I gave the lady no time to squeal. How can they catch me now? I love my work, and I want to start again. You will soon hear of me with my funny little games. I saved some of the proper red stuff in a ginger beer bottle over the last job to write with, but it went thick like glue, and I can't use it. Red ink is fit enough, I hope. Haha. The next job I do, I shall clip the lady's ears off and send to the police officers, just for jolly, wouldn't you? Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight. My knife's so nice and sharp, I want to get to work right away if I get a chance. Good luck, yours truly, Jack the Ripper. Don't mind me giving the trade name. P.S. Wasn't good enough to post this before I got all the red ink off my hands. Curse it. No luck yet, they say. I'm a doctor now. Haha. If I do remember correctly, there was some question that perhaps news people, reporters, were Jack the Ripper because they wanted to generate news. There's also some more modern theories, I suppose, that proposed that perhaps the famous H.H. Holmes was indeed Jack the Ripper, although I don't think that the timeline necessarily matches up in those cases. But Jack the Ripper did apparently suddenly stop killing, although with police work and record keeping what it was back in those days, it's possibly just stopped hunting in Whitechapel, and that alone was enough to throw police off of his trail. So the disorganized killer here, there are some that have a signature, a psychological need for communique. There have been plenty of examples of serial killers that do that over the years, so that wouldn't make Jack the Ripper necessarily unique in this regard. If you think of, like, for example, the BTK Strangler, that psychological need was so powerful that it eventually led to his capture. So, but authenticating these types of things can be a problem, particularly with one that's already heavily reported, such as this.
Me? Not up to discovering who Jack the Ripper is? Well, we'll soon find out, won't we, Inspector Aberline? I know who wrote the Dear Boss letter signed Jack the Ripper that Inspector Aberline gave me, and above all, I now know why. This Tom Bulling was inspired by this fantastical character to build a myth out of the Whitechapel Killer. Perhaps he would be receptive if I shared my discovery about him and prevent him from accusing Squippy. I must find him at once. My best bet would be to try my luck at the pub.
Yeah.
Ah, Holmes, I got your message, and here I am.
My hand was in the wrong position on the keyboard. And now I hit the wrong button. Okay.
Perfect, Watson. That oaf Bluto is looking for us with evil intentions, and he may be hiding here. I will try to get more information inside. You, Watson, will be our lookout, and at the slightest suspicious sound, do not hesitate to call the constable on his rounds.
Ah, there you are.
Good evening, Mr. Bulling.
We know each other?
No, however, I have some information that may be of interest to you.
Talk, my friend. A pint for you if what you say is worth something. Does it have to do with the Whitechapel murders?
Indeed, I know the identity of the man who wrote a letter to the police, a letter entitled Dear Boss, in which the author claims to be the Whitechapel murderer and is signed Jack the Ripper.
What?
It's a journalist who was inspired by Spring-Heeled Jack in order to strengthen the credibility and the seriousness of his agency. This new Jack will give him some first-hand information that he, in turn, will dole out sparingly to the authorities, as well as some carefully distilled indiscretions that the big papers will come to beg of him. He plays both sides off against one another and becomes the chief orchestrator of the rumour. He wrote this letter in this very spot, and he has red ink on his fingers. Like you.
What exactly are you after, my friend?
You've been threatening a certain Squibby to distribute a telegram naming him as a possible suspect in these murders in revenge for an old feud. I would suggest you don't write this note and that you leave Squibby alone.
I'd forgotten about the existence of that rapscallion. I threw that at him when I was visiting the station to get the dope. You should have seen his face.
You must also stop sending these letters that waste the authorities' precious time.
Right, well, I don't even know what you're talking about. I have a great relationship with the Bobbies. Just ask around. I don't have to answer to nobody. Now leave me alone.
Okay.
Farewell, sir.
That was
Good
time well spent.
riddance.
Now what?
Yes, sir?
I keep hitting E to
Let's
interact.
hurry to the police station, Watson. We are close to our goal. Squibby will be able to reveal what he knows about Tumblety. Squibby! So that's it. You're a free man again. We were just coming to the station to find you.
Yeah, the Bobbies agreed to let me go and I came to see Bluto before ferreting you out. So, you've seen the newspaper man?
Yes, he is in the pub and everything is taken care of, but I'm waiting to hear what you have to say about Dr. Tumblety.
Okay, but we have to be quick. One night, I goes to see Bluto in his hideout that ain't far from the boarding house where this Tumblety bloke has a room. I see him coming in too. He must have been on one real binge. To the point, the Tumblety fella was there, and he smiles at me, all nice like. He tells me he's a great Yankee doctor, but my business interests him. I'm interested, I tell him, but I'm not the type to just jump right in without getting to know a person, see? He invites me around to his room to talk business, just him and me. We empty a bottle or two, and all of a sudden, like, he wants to show me what he's got in this big trunk that he always carts around places. I just about vomited, see? In these jars, just like pickles, you know, there were pieces of meat. And he whispers that it's the lady bits of some old dames. He called them peckybins. I'd call them love killers, I would. Yuck! After that, he starts to go on about rich folk. They ain't nothing but dogs, and I won't tell you the worst of it. Then he comes all close to me and puts his sweaty hand on my leg. He was one of them types, not me. I don't wait a second before I give him a good thrashing, and I start running and let go of him, and he still wants to see me again just to talk business. But then I had to do time, so business.
Do you know where he can be found?
Why, ain't he in his digs? Maybe you got to liking life behind bars too. I heard that in some jobs there's a way to.
Thank you for your information, and we'll meet again, my friend. Here is the sum I promised to get you out of London.
Ciao, fella. I've just got a little score to settle with Bluto, and I'm heading for the country.
All right.
Lipsky!
Okay.
My dear Watson, we must strike while the iron is hot. We have avoided meeting Dr. Tumblety until now. The time has come to do so.
Do you have an opinion, Holmes?
We must assure ourselves that the factor collector of female organs and a murderer who removes said organs are resident in the same area at the same time is nothing more than coincidence.
Right. So, I don't know if that was meant to be Bluto or what that little cutscene was supposed to have been about, but...
I thought that you wouldn't bring me back your keys. Oh, it's you, Mr. Holmes. Good evening, Dr. Watson.
But the Jack the Ripper case did result in a lot of anti-Jewish sentiment in Whitechapel at the time because, of course, they were, seen as outsiders or, even foreigners, and there was a lot of racial tension there, which is part of what the police had to deal with in the case. In fact, at one point, at one of the scenes, someone had scrawled on the wall that the Jews are the people that won't be blamed for nothing, which the police constable, chief constable, ordered scrubbed off the walls because he didn't believe it to be relevant evidence of the murder, but that somebody had taken the opportunity to flare anti-Jewish sentiment as a result.
Indeed, it is I again. One of your tenants left without returning his keys?
Yes, it's Dr. Tumblety whom we spoke about. Shortly after your last visit here, some constables came and asked me a few questions regarding him. Barely had they left than the doctor came barreling around a street corner and rushed up into his room upstairs. A little while afterwards, while I was tidying, I heard a thud in his room and a rush down the stairs. He left with most of his bags, but without returning his keys. You can go up and see if you wish. The door is still open.
All right. I don't remember if there was a Dr. Tumblety that was a suspect in the case. I do know that a doctor was bandied about
Careful,
his possibility.
Watson. Do not walk around here until I've inspected these marks.
I know, Holmes, I know. I understand your methods. Ah, you have your rule and magnifying glass. I thought that you had forgotten them, Holmes.
I never forget the essentials, my dear Watson. Size 13. Right foot, light trails. The man was running. Right foot, light trails. The man was running.
Is this a scuff mark?
This isn't water. Going by its sticky texture and odor, I'd say we're dealing with formalin. These are the footprints of a tall man who had recently stepped in formalin and who left this room in a hurry.
Well, can I walk on it and enter the room now, Holmes?
These footprints are the same as those found in front of the door.
Do not understand how you found yourself in this situation. Your passionate discussions on the legitimacy of this war should have convinced more than one. Still remember when you imitated him during that meeting, you stuck the very characteristic pose, and you exclaimed, "Vicksburg is the key. The war can never be brought to a close until that key is in our pocket." We all applauded, and I'm sure that even Lincoln himself would have applauded. During these dark hours, it was rare to have the occasion to laugh. So many deaths, ending with our much-loved president, killed by this coward and left to join those of the victory at Gettysburg, who courageously fell so that the next day the key would be in our pockets. So he's talking about
If this letter is
American
addressed to
Civil
him,
War.
it would appear our doctor is a veteran of the American Civil War. Vicksburg is the key. Now, that is interesting.
And Vicksburg was indeed the key. Without the capture of Vicksburg, it's likely that the war would have dragged on, and the war dragging on. I mean, there's a lot of, armchair historian kind of stuff about whether or not the South was ever in an ultimately winning position, although there were, it seems to me, several cases where that seemed like even an unlikely, I should say, an outcome, still a possible outcome. And this must be the trunk he was talking about, although something has
There are a few
moved
pieces
here.
of a large glass jar in this puddle. The man who
And
left the
there's
footprints
a
on the ground
uterus
must
and
have walked in it
ovaries.
while fleeing. These footsteps must be those of Squibby. He must have hit Tumblety, who dropped one of his jars.
And he ran out. Elementary, Holmes.
Perfect, Watson.
Gross. What have we here? Dear Francis, it is impossible for us to meet again. I am feeling terrible, as pursuing our relationship further would put both my marriage and my reputation in danger. I must return to that life of love, fleeting and physical, in which a few coins to these young men assures corporeal peace and anonymity. These growing feelings that I have for you make me scared, and I would prefer to shun this passion for the fear that it may never leave me. Perhaps we shall cross paths again one day in a discreet location where like-minded men meet. I know that you frequent them regularly. You never hide yourself. For my part, I will spend more time with my wife and girls in order to find the serenity, and I hope to throw the veil of oblivion over our passionate embraces. All the best, Charles. All right. Oh, my dear Francis, it is in putting aside our common past, and thus, as a friend, that I am sending you these words. I have learned from some mutual friends of your recent trouble with the law. You should be more careful. England has nothing in common with the Wild West, but her seedy areas can be just as dangerous. Your attraction to young rogues will cost you dearly one of these days, whether it be at the end of an alley or on the benches of a jury. A man of your quality and fortune does not have to frequent the hovels and bring his pistol with him everywhere. It is not necessary to use violence to find partners unless this violence pleases you. Certain circles that we used to frequent are still open to you. Take advantage of this healthy and respectable company rather than demeaning yourself with these destitute lads. And pray get rid of that god-awful chest. Who knows what the people to whom you show, while bragging, must think and speak of it. A man you once loved, Henry.
This Dr. Tumblety seems to be attracted to men more than women. That much is clear. So, the doctor has a handgun, and he would use it to restrain young men, perhaps.
Okay, that seems like a leap, but very well. There was some, if I remember correctly, contemporaneous knowledge or theory during the Jack the Ripper case that Jack the Ripper must hate women, and therefore that's why he's killing them. And so, it being 1888, the idea was that he must surely be a homosexual or something along those lines. Not true. We certainly know now that in terms of victimology, if there's a serial offender, he most likely, let's say that he destroys more what he covets than what he hates. It's not a crime of hatred, it's a crime of
Going by its size, this enormous trunk must be a
passion,
wardrobe. These brackets
lust,
are rather unusual.
more
What do you
often than
think,
not.
Watson?
Let's see, Holmes. These are the names of the battles from the American Civil War.
Okay, sure is. Here we've got dates, victory.
Let's see. 5 latches, each fitted with a 6-number combination system.
Right. So, dates. Got hats and a jacket and a top hat. We got flags. Oh, and I can change them. Okay. The morrow, the key.
I am under the impression that the dates written correspond to the battles, Holmes, but one is missing.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. is this supposed to be? And I can't change these. Oh, okay. All right. So the surrender, September 4th, 1865, the surrender of the South at the Appomattox Courthouse, that was a Union or United States victory, and the hat represents Lincoln, the stovepipe hat. Okay, so the date of the battle, the flag of the victor, and the hat of the victor, of the leader. Yeah, is that it? I only recognize some of the hats, so all right. Well, he did talk about Vicksburg. Vicksburg is not on the list. It is not, the date is not here. That should be July 4th. Okay. Well, the top one is not... Oh my goodness. It's not in the list. This should be... oh, wait. Hold on a sec. Where Frogwares... I did some looking at Frogwares because the dialogue in this game is so unnatural. I thought surely there's no way that they could be, native English speakers. No offense to Frogwares or anyone who did the writing dialogue or translations or anything for this game, but I thought surely. So I was curious. I looked them up, and they are based in Ukraine and Ireland, according to their page. And I am in London here, so I wonder if I should be using, instead of the American month, day, year, if I should use the day, month, year. So should it be 4/7 or 7/4? Because as an American, that date to me is 7/4, 63. But maybe Frogwares or the game wants 4/7, 4th July, 63. Let's try. I'm probably overthinking it. Okay, well, oops. 2, 3. What? 2, 3. There we go. All right. So that is the date of the Battle of Vicksburg. The flag was in Mexico. Wasn't Tejas. I believe that this is the federal standard for that Grant was using at the time, if I remember my high school history. And Grant at the time was he had just received promotion. Grant had just received a promotion because he had impressed Lincoln with his aggressive tactics. And basically, as far as I can recall from high school history, the whole Vicksburg offensive, more or less, had become his baby. So, it was... I don't know that much about military uniforms. This I don't think is correct because, and this is entirely based on, do I remember any art or photographs or anything that survived from the era that showed Grant in a uniform like this? This doesn't seem right, although that is the federal crest. This is definitely wrong because Vicksburg was a Union victory. I think that this is a Grenadier's hat. I think. No, because there's crossed rifles on it. So this must be an infantry cap, although this is the infantry cap. So this must be an officer's cap. I thought this was a Grenadier's hat. Oh my God, whatever. This hat I only recognize as Napoleonic in nature, so I don't think that this is correct. So it must be this, I guess. All right, and then Gettysburg. Okay. All right, so day before here, but none of these dates are on here. Well, this Gettysburg is on here. Oh, okay, so it is reversed relative to the U.S. So it is day, month, year format. All right, which means that this should be 4. Oh my God, what is the... Ah! All right. At least I know that that's correct now because this little thing went tick. Okay, which means that... All right, we're on the right track. Flag. Gettysburg. I remember distinctly. I've been to Gettysburg. I am not from Pennsylvania, but I've been there a couple of times, and I've been to Gettysburg. But that was when I was a child, so I'm grasping desperately to recall as much as I can about it from when I was a kid. I'm going to come back to Gettysburg. The flag and the hat are going to take me a little bit of time. Fort Sumter is going to be relatively easy. That should be April 12th. So if we're doing the European format, 12 for 1861. And that would have been the first major Confederate victory. There we go. Okay. The Battle of Antietam. August. Oh, I know the year. That's going to be 62. 60. This system is crazy. Okay. 62. Why am I thinking? I'm thinking late August. The weather, I recall, was hot. Oh wait, hold on a sec. Maybe I can. Is it this one? 62? Because here's Fort Sumter. Here is the. Okay, so some of the dates make sense. Vicksburg isn't on here, but Gettysburg is on here. So cross this one out mentally. Fort Sumter is on here. Cross this one out mentally. 2-5. This is Chancellorsville. Okay, so if it's 62, then it must be this one. I must be off by a month or so. I'm going to try it anyway. 17. 9. 62. Definitely not. It was a Union victory. This is the only Union hat. Well, I mean, this looks like a Union hat too, but I don't know. The flag, I have no idea. But I suppose if this is my last piece of information, okay. was going to say, if I cycle through them and I don't happen upon the right one, then I know that something else is wrong. Okay, Chancellorsville, I know that one is April 2nd, so 2, 5. Don't ask me why Americans have that format for dates. I don't know. I'm also not a fan. Largely in my my own personal life, I stick to 24-hour clocks and the metric system because it's just better. But as an American, I cannot simply choose to use a different date format because all dates in America are in that format. All right, Chancellorsville, that is definitely Texas, so I'm guessing the cowboy hat. Oh, there's 2 cowboy hats. All right, so then Gettysburg. We're back to Gettysburg. Date is correct. I'm not sure on the flag or on the hat. Could be this one. Let's try. Okay, no. Not that one. I mean, it wasn't really a Confederate victory. So I'm guessing it's the Green Mountain. There we go. There we go. God, that was brutal. I was not expecting a history test. Oh my God. Wow. All right.
This is dreadful, Holmes. This trunk contains 4 jars in which organs are floating.
This is dreadful.
Watson,
the textures did not load.
What these organs are?
I would say that they are parts of female reproductive organs.
Are these specimens fresh?
No, and I am quite certain of it. From the colour and appearance, I'd say these organs have been in these jars for several months, if not years.
What about the one on
Let's
the floor?
go to Baker Street.
Is there someone here?
Yes.
What's going on, Finley? You seem to be in a panic.
The 2 police officers wanted to know if someone suspicious had entered here. The Whitechapel killer has struck again, and if I understood correctly, he killed 2 women in the past few hours.
Where?
I don't know. The police didn't tell me anything.
Quick, Holmes. We must catch up with them.
Certainly not, Watson. Mr. Finley, do you know if the doctor had any other pieces of luggage up there apart from this trunk?
1 or 2, I think.
Do you take care of the doctor's laundry?
My wife does laundry for the tenants once a week. The sheets likewise.
Would you be kind enough to let us know as soon as possible if the doctor shows up again?
Certainly. I'm just worried that he won't be back, you see, and I'm annoyed about my keys.
Holmes, I don't follow. The Whitechapel killer is, at this very moment, very close by, and we are just staying put, twiddling our thumbs.
The Whitechapel killer has always been nearby, and what will we do? Go back to the scene of the crime or crimes and mix with the onlookers and trample the crime scenes even more? No, our time will come. Let's return to Baker Street.
Let's go back to Baker Street. Home, sweet home.
Okay.
We were less than 200 feet away from the first victim a few minutes before she was murdered. We might even have heard the murderer's voice. And we haven't done a thing for the past week.
You're the one not doing anything, Watson. For my part, I had been working. And, as you know, I've made good use of this week by tracking down and verifying all of the solid facts on these 2 murders to write up the notes that are on my desk, read them over again and try to gain a bit of perspective.
Note of the murder of Liz Stride at Dutfield's yard. Certain information that I have collected must be verified. Liz Stride, nicknamed Long Liz, 45 years old, 5'5". Occasional prostitute. She lived for the past 3 years in a stormy relationship with a certain Kidney, a waterside laborer, 36 years of age, whom she left a few days earlier. She charged him with assault, but failed to appear in court, and the case was thrown out. The victim was discovered dead by one Louis Dimschutz at 1 o'clock in the morning on September 30th. The man's first thought was to verify if his wife in the building next door was still alive before sounding the alarm. The 2 doctors who came at the police's request to the scene of the crime in the moments after the discovery of the corpse put the time of death after 12:46 a.m. Cause of death: hemorrhage due to a throat injury. The weapon was a small knife with a large blunt edge. The verification of this statement is necessary. Could this wound have been caused by another tool? Neither the body nor the clothes were damaged, soiled, or disturbed by the killer. The right hand was open, stained with blood, and resting on the chest. The left hand was on the ground, partially closed, holding a packet of pastils. The location of the discovery was a courtyard called Dutfield's Yard, whose doors lead to Burner Street in Whitechapel. The victim was found stretched out on the ground a few inches from the wall in one of the buildings served by this courtyard, the International Working Men's Club. This association, composed mainly of Jews originally from Russia and Poland, were organizing a conference that night on the subject, "Why Should Jews Be Socialists?" Presided by Mr. Morris Eagle, the meeting ended around 11:30 p.m., but many members remained to debate and sing with the premises of the association. An American present at that evening declared to have been in the courtyard at 12:20 a.m. and went into the street and didn't see anything unusual. He then returned back inside the club, but his estimation of time spent outside is approximate at best. Two witnesses were quoted by the press: Constable Smith, who was doing his rounds in the area on the night in question, and a Hungarian by the name of Schwartz, who made his statement at the police station accompanied by an interpreter because he does not speak English. The transcription of these statements, there's so much text in this game. The transcription of these statements by the press should be treated with caution. It would be advisable, if at all possible, to consult the exact content. Observe the clothing worn by the victim as well as her possession at the time of the discovery of the body. Clothing: long black cloth jacket, fur trimmed around the bottom with a red rose and white maidenhair fern printed on it, black shirt, black crepe bonnet, check neck scarf knotted on the left side, dark brown velveteen bodice, 2 light serge petticoats, 1 white chemise, white stockings, spring-sided boots, and 2 handkerchiefs. One is noticed to have fruit stains on it, a thimble, a piece of wool wound around a card. In the pocket in her undershirt, a key, a small piece of lead pencil, 6 large and 1 small button, a comb, a broken piece of comb, a metal spoon, a hook as from a dress, a piece of muslin, 1 or 2 small pieces of paper. The end. Okay. More. Murder of Catherine Eddowes, 46. Occasional prostitute. She had a regular relationship for 7 years with one John Kelly, a man of no regular employment and about the same age as the victim. The victim was found dead at 1:44 a.m. on this September 30th by P.C. Watkins, who was on his rounds. He secured the area by calling to the watchman of the warehouse located some feet from the crime scene. According to the doctor who arrived on the scene at 2:18 a.m., the victim had just been dead for half an hour, unlikely, but we know from experience how hard it is to precisely establish the time of death when the corpse has been very mistreated. Cause of death: hemorrhage due to a throat wound. The medical examiner also confirmed that additionally the extractions committed on the corpse were done post-mortem by a right-handed man possessing a long-bladed knife. The victim was subject to numerous mutilations. The victim was found stretched out in a dark corner of Mitre Square, notorious meeting spot for prostitutes and their clients because of its remote, poorly lit location. It should be noted that the victim was freed from the Bishopgate Street Police drunk tank at 1 o'clock in the morning. Mitre Square was visited at 1:30 a.m. by P.C. Watkins coming from Mitre Street and around 1:42 a.m. by P.C. Harvey coming from Church Passage. The 2 police constables didn't see anything suspicious in the area, but it should be noted that P.C. Harvey didn't enter into Mitre Square, unlike P.C. Watkins. The watchman who came to lend a hand to Watkins at the time of the discovery of the body had been awoken during the time of the crime. His door is located a few feet from the spot where the victim was dying and didn't hear anything until the police's call. Firstly, we must note that the clothing worn by Catherine Eddowes are very characteristic. I think, in particular, the patterned green chintz shirt as well as the white men's vest. A few of her possessions, including the thimble, were found around the corpse. The white apron was found on the corpse with a part missing. Thus, this missing part, previously resewn, thus ensuring authenticity, was found at 2:55 a.m. on the night of the murder by P.C. Alfred Long, who states that the object wasn't there at his preceding patrol at 2:20 a.m. The piece of bloody apron was found at the entrance hall leading to the stairs of 108 and 119 Wentworth Model Dwellings on Goulston Street. At the right of the entrance, just above the apron, was found the following inscription in chalk. The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. So yeah, I actually mentioned that a little while ago. The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. The Wentworth model dwellings building being almost exclusively occupied by Israelites and Golston Street being the site of a very popular, much frequented market. He decided to erase the inscription before the day broke. Kate Eddowes' belongings, wearing at the time of her murder black straw bonnet trimmed in green and black velvet with black beads, black strings worn tied to the hand, black cloth jacket trimmed around the collar and cuffs with imitation fur around the pockets and black silk braid and fur. Large metal buttons, dark green chintz shirt, 3 flounces, brown button waistband. The shirt is patterned with McCalmus daisies and golden lilies. Man's white vest, matching buttons down front, brown linsey bodice, black velvet collar with brown buttons down front, gray stuffed petticoat with white waistband, very old green alpaca shirt worn as an undergarment. Wow, that sounds either very comfortable or very uncomfortable. I'm not entirely sure, but the idea of wearing an alpaca undershirt reminds me of hair shirts monks would wear. Very old, ragged blue skirt with red flounces, light twill lining worn as an undergarment. White calico chamois, a pair of men's lace-up boots, mohair laces. She's wearing a lot of men's clothing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it just seems odd. Right boot repaired with red thread, 1 piece of red gauze silk worn as a neckerchief, 1 large white pocket handkerchief, 1 large white cotton handkerchief with red and white bird's eye border, 2 unbleached calico pockets, tape strings, 1 blue stripe and bed ticking pocket, brown ribbed knee stockings darned with white cotton. Possessions: 2 small blue bags, 2 short black clay pipes, 1 tin box containing tea, 1 tin box containing sugar, 1 tin matchbox empty, 12 pieces white rag, 1 piece coarse linen white, 1 piece of blue and white shirting, 3 cornered, 1 piece red flannel with pins and needles, 1 piece soap, 1 small tooth comb, 1 white handle, 1 table knife, metal spoon, 1 red leather cigarette case with white metal fittings, 1 ball hemp, 1 piece of old white apron with repair, several buttons and a thimble, mustard tin containing 2 pawn tickets, 1 in the name of Emily Burrell, 52 Whites Row, dated August 31. 9D for a man's flannel shirt. The other is in the name of Jane Kelly of 6 Dorset Street and dated September 28 to S for a pair of men's boots. Both addresses are false. Printed handbill, portion of a pair of spectacles, 1 red mitten. That's a lot of belongings. Okay. Is that it?
I have read and reread them, but give me something to do then. A task where I can get stuck in, because...
Find me a slaughterhouse that will give us exclusive use of its block for an hour. And find me, in your opinion, which common animal shares the most characteristics with humans from a physiological point of view?
Pigs.
Pig?
I don't even know why I asked that question. Pray, find a dozen fresh pig's heads, Watson. Not big heads, I prefer small ones.
Sows?
That's it, Watson. As soon as you have done that, let me know. I request that you search in Whitechapel. Who knows? Perhaps you will learn something about where Dr. Tumblety may be hiding. There is also no shortage of slaughterhouses and pig's heads in those parts.
Okay. I guess we can. Are you planning on recreating some of the wounds here? Are we doing a little bit of wound analysis? Where would there be a slaughterhouse? I suppose it would be over here on this end.
What a ridiculous idea to have asked Holmes for something to do. Where on earth am I going to find what he wants? Perhaps that kind Lucy will be able to help me.
Oh, okay. So yeah, in the actual Jack the Ripper case,
Go to Miss Bellows.
Miss Bellows, she's not home. No, she's not. In the Jack the Ripper case, there was 2 murders in one night at one point. Those are the victims' names, of course. We haven't had an issue with them reusing actual material from the case here at all. It is believed... Yes, that's what I'm doing. It is believed that the first body that they recovered that night was much less mutilated than the others. No organs were missing, because the killer was interrupted and so had to go and find a second victim that
Good
night,
evening,
which he
Lucy.
did in Catherine Meadows.
But is something wrong?
Good evening, Dr. Watson. Yes, it's my uncle. He's no longer with us.
Please accept my condolences, miss.
Thank you, Doctor. But why are you here? Can I help you?
My request may sound rather strange, but do you know if there is a butcher's or slaughterhouse in the area where pigs are killed?
Yes, Fletcher's the man. He was a regular client, owner of a little butcher's shop not far. But Miss Bella didn't want him to come, as long as he didn't treat his awful sickness.
Can you point to his shop on my map?
Certainly.
Do you know anything about the 2 latest murders?
Oh, goodness me, no. All the girls in the neighbourhood are terrified. Who will be next? That's what everyone is asking.
And I do believe
Goodbye,
that with
Lucy.
these last
Until
2
next
victims,
time,
we
perhaps,
are
Doctor.
nearly at the end of Jack the Ripper's killing spree. I believe that, what was her name? Her final victim was Mary Kelly.
Ah, there's Fletcher's butcher shop.
Yeah, this is the place.
Closed due to illness. If the proprietor is ill, the butcher's block is probably not being used. Perhaps I can use it. Now, where could a sick butcher have got to?
The clinic, I imagine. It just happens to be next door, so that's good.
Yes, if Fletcher is ill, he should be here.
Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Good evening, Dr. Gibbons. I have come to see you because I was wondering if, by any chance, you happen to have a patient by the name of Fletcher, a butcher who would have relinquished his shop due to illness. An illness caught during nocturnal encounters, if you catch my drift.
Fletcher is one of the regulars at the clinic. Mercury treatment against syphilis. A night with Venus, a lifetime with Mercury. He left London a fortnight ago for the fresh country air. Why is he of interest to you?
Oh, no reason. I'm more interested in using his shop, only for an hour or so. Would he have left his keys with family in the area?
He has none left, but he must have left Hardiman, the cat's meat seller, to oversee his shop. They're in business. They're good friends.
Do you know where he can be found?
No, but wander around the neighbourhood
Oh, God,
and
this
listen
guy
for his
again.
beeps. He often passes in front of the clinic. Besides...
Okay. Well, that's not Mr. Beep Beep. That's, Danny? Was that her name?
It's me that you're looking for, sweetheart.
Actually, no. I am looking for the cat food seller, Hardiman.
Hardiman? Poor Hardiman? It isn't quitting time for him yet. That gives me some time to wander the streets before he shows up, and with him all the cats hereabouts.
Okay.
Do you know where he lives?
Sure, and for a copper I might even tell you.
Here are a few coins.
You're too kind, Governor. Well, these days I knows that he lives with his mammy on Hanbury Street, in the same place where Dark Annie bled to death.
Okay.
Why did you call him poor Hardiman?
Bah, he's in grieving, of course. Just a few weeks ago he lost his wife, and 3 months before that his girl, poor fella. He was in tatters. Even came to cry
that'll
on
do
my
it.
shoulder, believe it or not.
Well, I must leave you. I must go to Hanbury Street.
Which was just over here, if I remember correctly. Although we have no... Okay. We have no fast travel. Oh, no, that's Buck's Road. That's over here. Where the cats meet. Oh, wait, where was that? I thought it was over... Is it back here? Where was this place? I thought it was over here. No, it's not over here. Oh, geez, I'm disoriented now. Okay, then. God, I can't stop coughing. I'm on medication that makes me cough. It's driving me crazy. It's not there. Here's Batty. Or is that a different place? It's the London Hospital, Wharfdale. Oh, yeah, over there.
This is the building in which poor Annie Chapman was killed. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
Beep, beep. Hello, are you Mr. Hardiman?
That's me.
I am Dr. Watson. I have come to see you about Fletcher's shop.
This
I
is
would like to use
all
it for an
just
hour or two.
extending out
If
the
you have the
playtime.
keys
This
and
is
your
the
rates
most
are
insignificant
Do
quest.
you want to operate on someone in the butcher's?
Not at all. One of my friends needs it to prepare pig's heads.
Well, why not? Fletcher certainly wouldn't mind, but there's a problem.
Okay, what is the problem?
Problem? How so?
This morning, the neighbour above broke his key in the door. The old boy must have already had a drink.
So?
Well, I tried my best to unjam it with Fletcher's spare key, which is pretty thin, and bam, that one broke too.
Great.
Hard luck. But if you have the end of the broken key, perhaps it can be fixed.
It must still be upstairs. I didn't pick it up. Fletcher has a key too, so I didn't think it was a problem. Fancy, if I just had another key with a simpler blade, I could copy it. I'm great at odd jobs.
Fine, I will try to find all of that.
Oh my
Well,
God.
see you later then.
Goodbye, sir.
Where am I supposed to go?
I have no reason to go that way.
Okay, where am I supposed to go? I kind of missed. I suppose I probably should have been paying attention, huh? Okay, fine. It must still be upstairs. I didn't pick it up. Upstairs where? The neighbor above. Okay, so somewhere around here. If it's not in that door, then... Oh, here's the cat's meat place, which is the packing case. So up here. Okay.
Oh, no. But what a... Ah, how dreadful. Kebabs, the same as Hardiman's. So he prepares his meat here. My word. These are innards.
The fuck do you care? It's for cats. He's not selling them to people.
This bag contains butcher's equipment.
Yeah, because he sells meat for cats. Is he a suspect now?
Where can I find a key with a simpler blade? On a worthless door, perhaps.
Or a hardware store, maybe? Of course, knowing the unintuitive solution to the puzzles in this game, I probably have to craft the fucking key from, like, clay that I mixed together from dirt in the backyard and a special brew beer or something from the wasp nest, and you have to combine them and make a mold, and then this game's solutions are dumb. This actually, okay, I was gonna say this door was recently replaced. Is there a key there? Do I have to go and buy a key? Is there something... There is an outhouse. Oh, there's a key. Okay. Oh my god, I can't believe the key is in the outhouse.
Indeed, there is nothing terribly precious inside. But what a stench.
So the solution to this puzzle was legitimately to make your way randomly to the backyard, randomly find a key in the lock to the outhouse, which, why would it have a lock on it? If it's an outhouse. If there's a lock, it just needs to be a latch on the inside. You know, kind of like how stall doors don't have locks on them, but they have latches on the inside. What a stupid solution. And I only found it completely by luck. Well, luck and jamming religiously on the fucking spacebar key to reveal where I'm supposed to go next.
Have you found everything I need to remake the key? There you go. I think you'll manage with all of this. I'm sure I will, sir. It won't take me long. Say, I think there's some of your business upstairs. Oh, you're right. I ain't had the time to sort it out. Sometimes I'm in such a hurry to prepare my meat that I forget to clean up. But why do it in the stairwell? Offal bleeds bucket loads, they do, as you've seen. Now, why would I do that in my own lodgings? Ah, of course. But what about your poor neighbours? They owe it to me, all the times I've helped them out. And I don't have a shop either.
You've got the butcher shop that you're supposed to be looking after.
Say, you sell animal meat, isn't that right? Would you know where I could find a dozen small pig's heads? The guy who gets me my offal should have some. I'll pay your day's wages if you meet me at Fletcher's butcher shop in 2 hours with the pig's heads. Here's a little advance. I'll do my best, Doctor. The caretaker of another building told us that the place where your mother lives has a reputation for facilitating prostitutes' activities.
Are you calling his mother a whore?
Is that
That's
true?
Pretty mean.
Sure, the doors are never closed. They come through here like it's Paddington Station. By the way, I heard about your loss. My condolences. Ta, sir. I saw them die slow deaths. My little girl, her face was eaten by the disease. Thank you, my friend, and please forgive me for bringing up such painful memories.
Then why the fuck did you?
Go, I must do my rounds, and I will look for what you've asked for. As for me, I will go and find Holmes, and we will go to the butcher's together. Let's return to Fletcher's butcher shop. Your heads are on the block inside. Say, you wouldn't be the same chap who bought my whole load the other day.
It's possible, but if you want to continue to do business together, you mustn't speak of my presence in the area to anyone.
Don't worry, my lord. I'll be as quiet as a church mouse.
Okay, and all I have now is the pocket knife. Alright, so we go in.
Holmes, will you explain the reason and rhyme behind this masquerade?
Elementary. We shall conduct an experiment that will allow us to answer a simple question. Does the type of weapon used by the killer correspond to a specific profession?
Okay.
And here are our sow's heads. Congratulations, Watson.
You're welcome, Holmes, but what do you really want to do? Take up a collection?
This wheel is broken and prevents the door from sliding. There is nothing further to find in this room, Watson. However, I need some knives. Our only hope is behind this door.
Okay.
I need something.
You need something. I only have one something. I have a pocket knife. Okay, I guess that's
This
luckily,
wheel is broken and prevents
luckily
the
that's
door
what you
from
need,
sliding.
I guess.
There, this door is slightly raised.
Okay.
I need something. Elementary. While I prepare our experiment, could you find me 2 knives? A small one, somewhat larger than a pocket knife, with a large, sharp blade. We'll need it to separate the bones and to cut through the thick skins. Then find me a long knife that's at least 13 inches long, no shorter, that's sharp and has a thick blade.
Fine, Holmes, but I'd like to tell you about Hardiman. Do you know that he prepares his kebabs himself, and...
That he owns butcher's tools and uses offal? That's obvious, Watson. Pray, take my magnifying glass and my rule and get started, Watson. Find me these 2 knives.
Okay.
With the rule, I must find a large knife. Size, 11 inches. Size, 13 inches. Thanks to the magnifying glass, I can find a small knife that matches Holmes's description. Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage.
Okay. That's it. Can I go? Is this what you need?
Here are the knives you asked for. Be careful, they're awfully sharp. Holmes, I must say that this experiment is making me rather uneasy, comparing animal heads to these poor women.
You're right, Watson, but this somewhat shocking experiment may help to end this massacre and save other victims. You can be sure of that. Look, these pigs' heads are still bloody, which will suit our experiment perfectly. I have a pocket knife and a scalpel with me. With the 2 knives you just brought me, we have a similar array of weapons as those probably used by the killer. We saw 3 types of throat wounds on the deceased attributed to this man, those intended to slit the throat, those intended to decapitate, and the more superficial yet mortal wound that led to the death of the unfortunate victim in Dutfield's yard, Miss Stride. With the help of these 4 knives, we are going to try to recreate these wounds on the pigs' heads and see what we can establish about the weapon or weapons used. We may also be able to rule out Miss Stride as a victim of the killer of the other 3.
Okay. Oh, okay. I guess... Wait, what am I supposed to... I'm clicking. I'm dragging. Oh, I'm just supposed to check? Okay. No. Select the right knife or knives. Oh, okay.
Let's try to use these weapons on this head to obtain a large deep wound to the throat, like those that were noted on 3 of the 4 victims.
Like that.
This little knife is very sharp and has a very wide blade. This pocket knife is very sharp, but its blade is too thin. The wound is too shallow.
That looks right to
Look,
me.
Watson, this knife easily penetrates the flesh. Let's try to decapitate our victim with these tools, knowing that the killer didn't quite manage to do it.
Charming.
This knife with a long blade easily slices the flesh, but cannot dislocate the vertebrae. With a scalpel, the wound is too shallow. The blade of this pocket knife is too thin to reach the vertebrae. Look, Watson, this little knife with a wide base can easily slice the vertebrae of our porcine friend. Let's see if these knives can inflict a mortal wound in a situation where a single quick blow is given. The scenario in question is that of Dutfield's yard. Look, Watson, the blade sinks easily into the flesh. In using the cutting edge of this pocket knife's blade, I can scrape the skin. This particularly sharp blade can make a deep gash with one quick slice. It cuts through the flesh easily as the blade is so sharp.
Okay. So my conclusion for all of these is that they're all knives and they're all good for cutting.
Let's try to decapitate our victim with these tools, knowing that the killer didn't quite manage to do it.
Charming.
Oh, didn't
This
quite
knife with a
manage to
long
do it.
blade easily slices the flesh, but cannot dislocate the vertebrae.
Didn't manage to do it. Okay. So it's the long knife. Okay, now what am I supposed to do? I did them all.
Let's see if these knives can...
I can select more than one. I want to pick this one. Why can't I pick a knife? What the hell? Do I have to do something else?
Let's try to use these weapons on This little knife is very sharp and has a very wide blade. Elementary.
Oh, I have to pick the ones that are all of the ones
Let's
that
try
are
to
possible.
decapitate our...
Charming.
Elementary. Let's see if these knives can...
Stupid.
Elementary. That's it, Watson. The big knife. With respect to the opinion of the medical examiners who noted that a butcher's knife with a long blade would have caused the eviscerations on some of the victims, we can assume, Watson, that he only used this type of weapon as it is capable of inflicting all of the wounds displayed. Furthermore, the Dutfield's Yard murder remains attributable, for the moment, to the Whitechapel killer, if we are able to explain why the murderer used his knife in a different manner. Why not go there now? We will try to reenact the killer's actions that night. Our first objective will be to clarify, one way or another, the statements of Constable Smith, as well as this Hungarian by the name of Schwartz. We must also try to find out more about the International Working Men's Educational Club, underneath which the murder took place, perhaps at the Wasp's Nest.
Yes, let's go to Dutfield's Yard or wherever, but quickly. I am in urgent need of fresh air.
Let's go to the Wasp's Nest.
Okay, so that was Bluto we saw before.
Don't forget that Bluto may still be hiding here. I will try to find out more inside. You, Watson, must intercept the policeman on his rounds. Given the hour and a bit of luck, it will be Smith. Try to get some information from him.
Understood, Holmes.
All right. That will be the end of this part. We'll move on. I am going to finish the game. At this point, I'm committed to it. I don't know how much time we have left. This is already much longer than I expected it to be. But I am going to commit to finishing this before we move on. I want to do the whole series, and I don't know if I'm going to actually... Because if the other games are anything like this, I'm just simply not going to bother. But I'm at least going to see this through to the next game. So... come back next time. We're going to examine the next most recent crime scene and hopefully finish the game next time. I really do hope. Take care, have a good day, and we will see you next time.